The third prayer I would suggest is, God, provide enough. If you thought humility was hard, maybe this one's harder. Here's a numerical proverb. Let's go to verses 15 and 16. You can see the fun of Agur here. 15 says, the leech has 2 daughters. Give, give, they cry. There are 3 things that are never satisfied, 4 that never say enough. The grave, the barren womb, land which is never satisfied with water, and fire which never says enough. And if we wanted great examples of lack of contentment, we found some. Where is contentment found? Well, we know where it's not found. We can look at the leech, and some scholars say it's the horse leech. Who cares? It's a leech. They suck blood, right? We know that much about leeches. And that's all they do. They suck blood. Give me more. That's all I want is more. That's the point. We can get that. He says 3 things never satisfied. 4 never say enough. The grave, Sheol, the abode of the dead. We all die at some point. I read this week there are, over 6 billion people in the world. In the last century, about 5.5 billion people have died. Why is that? Because we all die at some point. We're not guaranteed eternal life in that sense. There's a whole different sense to that. That's for a different sermon. The grave is never satisfied, at least yet. The barren womb. This one might not settle with some of us well. But let me read from Genesis 30, verse 1. When Rachel saw that she was not bearing Jacob any children, she became jealous of her sister, who was also married to Jacob. So she said to Jacob, give me children or I'll die. We might say sentiment of people who can't have children, or women who can't have children. Very clearly, this is a cultural sentiment. I don't think it's that foreign for women now who have trouble. It's hard. Every time they saw children, every time Rachel saw children, I can't produce that. There's that aching inside. Why can't I produce that? Give me children or I'll die. And the impact of this statement from Agur is very significant, isn't it? There are 4 things that never say enough. That heartbreak is there every time. Agur rounds it out with land and fire. They're never satisfied. Water, he's writing in a desert environment. It just goes right through the soil. We've lived in a desert environment. That's the case. It just runs right to the rivers or the watersheds. And fire, he rounds it out with something great. The more you feed it, the bigger it gets. It never has enough. It's never consumed enough. We get the point. We often put our hope in things that don't satisfy. Those things that pull at us and tug at us and create a result of heartache and pain and destruction and devastation. That's what he's getting at. Those don't give us contentment. They just are never, ever satisfied. God, grant me enough.